Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. This fight just popped up on YouTube, so I watched it real quick, and now I'm gonna watch it with you guys and commentate. Maybe I'll pause here and there, but we'll basically let the fight play through. See if Naoya Inoue is making improvements. I call this a developmental fight, saying that he would have the opportunity to learn how to cut the ring off. I had stated that this guy would most likely get knocked out with body shots because he was coming in light and he's very tall and skinny for the weight. And obviously Inoue is a good body puncher. And, developmental fight. So we're looking for improvements. We're looking to see if Inoue knows his flaws and if he is making an attempt to fix them. So let's go. Bad camera angle, but the other guy right now, Boyeaux, looks taller. He's 5'7.5", I believe, versus 5'5", so he's supposed to have a 2.5-inch height advantage. Let's see with a better, more fair and straight on camera angle, not from below. Okay. I know Inoue is bouncing and all. Inoue looks taller, but that's because Boyeaux's feet are wide apart. To me right now, and I'm gonna keep an eye on this, see if I change my mind. They look about the same height. If Boyeaux is taller, it's not by much, right? Bouncing. I don't like bouncing, but he's out of range and he's safe. So it's forgivable, right? But it's not a good habit to have. I've explained it many times why. You see some probing, a little bit checking opponent's punches, right? He has his guard in front of him a lot, where he's pretty safe for the most part. Open to the body, but it is what it is. Whoa. Nice left hook, right? Set it up with a little feint. See how he feints him? It's very quick feint and follows. Or am I imagining this? It looks like he feinted and then followed right up with the left hook. No, I think I'm imagining it. Good head movement. Fast combinations. Going straight back, right? Now look, you can... When punches start flying at you, most fighters will jump back because that's the fastest way. It's very instinctual, right? Instinctive. And sometimes the fastest way to get out of the way of a punch. But after you jumping out of range, it's good to go out at an angle. You go back a little bit at an angle. Nothing, right? Just straight back. And he can get away with that against this guy, but this is where he's supposed to be practicing. He has the opportunity because he can get away with making mistakes against this guy. So if he's trying something new and he's not very good at it, he could probably also get away with learning something new while he's not very good at it, right? If he can make something new, that's not a mistake. If he could get away with making mistakes, he should be able to get away with fixing those mistakes for the first time in the professional ring, right? But he's not even attempting to do that. Not right now, anyway. Very nice, fast combinations. And look, I'm being highly critical because, look, he's supposed to be developing, and people are saying he's a pound-for-pound fighter, and I've been just debunking that notion. So I'm going to be very critical because you're putting You're asking me to be very critical. Basically, if you're saying that this guy's pound for pound, you're asking me to put him under the microscope. Looks like he just wants to take punches on the guard and counter with something, right? He made no attempt to keep Boyeaux on the ropes. And if he wants to get the rounds in, that's okay, but does he? He made no attempt to keep him there, right? Very committed to going to the body, right? So he understands what I understood just looking at BoxRec. Yeah, looks like he wants to slip and counter. And Boyeaux knows this, which is why he's so... See that? Big mistake. Why he's so unsure. His punches are limp. There's nothing on his punches. He's not committing. He's scared. He's fighting scared. He pushed him to the ropes. Right there, he should have been throwing the right hand, right? To keep him from exiting. Or use his fast feet to cut him off, right? But he lets him out, shakes his hands out, right? And what is... And gets hit. He dropped his guard, and Boyeaux was able to hit him. Now, if that's a... Let's look at it again. If that's a fast fighter that's not bouncing around, he's hitting him. And if it's a fast fighter that's not bouncing around and it's got punching power, he's knocking him down, right? Made no attempt to control his opponent. Doesn't understand control, right? Knows nothing about control. Lomachenko does. And look, all these things, obviously Lomachenko knows how to do all these things, and he's showing you that he's doing them all the time, right? I've done enough film studies of Lomachenko, especially if you've been following me for a couple of years, that, this is just on a different level to this guy, right? I'm judging him by the Lomachenko standard. Nice right hand to the body right there. Very hard jab, right? Throwing the guy off balance with the jab. Nice right hand. That was the right punch to throw at the time, but Inoue looks like he's not doing this deliberately to cut the ring off. He's just throwing his punches. Good combination. That was the right punch to throw because the guy was walking into the right hand. But I still don't see him understanding how to cut the ring off with punches and your feet, right? He just throws the right punch because he sees it and he goes for it. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to counter his opponent, but makes no attempt to cut the ring off, right? Or his feet are too slow when it comes to that. But maybe he's giving his opponent some openings so that he can counter, right? Beautiful left hook. Great technique. A little bouncy, but it works for him, Didn't even really turn into that punch. The kid's just got power, right? Or his opponent got no chin. He's still hurt. Now let's look at the slow-mo. Here we go. Boom. I don't know. Inoue was wide open. He was faster. He changed levels, so that's good. Changed his, he was moving his head by changing levels. So that was good. But man, he was wide open, wasn't he? Look at the replay. Look at how wide open Inoue is. Wide open, right? For either punch. Chin up in the air. Now he did bend down low, or he bent his knees. So that helps. That's good. Keeping good eye contact with his opponent. But he's wide open for the left hook, right? His opponent just can't shorten up his his hooks in order to be able to hit him. But the punch is right there. He timed it well, and just his arms are too long, and he doesn't shorten his punches up. And at least his opponent is showing the understanding of defense when throwing punches, but his left hand is still too low, right? He misses the punch and backs out of there with his chin up in the air. If that chin were tucked behind the shoulder, well, he wouldn't get hit right on it, would he? He might get hit around the eye, high on the forehead. But beautiful left hook on the bum. Right? He's fighting a bum, guys. See how wide open Naoya is? Both of his hands are down. But he could get away with that against bums. But is he really getting better from the Narvaez fight? You know, if you didn't see my little quick breakdown of Narvaez fight from a couple of days ago, go check it out and see how Inoue is still making the same mistakes. Maybe he's doing a little bit more, doing something different, but that's probably because he has a very tall versus very short opponent in front of him. I'm not saying he's not making any improvements. I don't recall him changing levels this much. But it makes sense against this big guy because he can bend low and not get hit with anything. If his opponent's not bending with him, he's not going to be able to hit him with anything. At least not anything very powerful, because he's going to be punching down. And contrary to what boxing commentators will tell you, punching down actually robs you of your power. There he threw the right punch, right? Right hand, and the left hand, but it's not. Those punches are too straight, and they don't look to me like they're designed to cut the ring off. He's just throwing them because they're there. They're presenting themselves, and he's taking the opportunity. But to cut off the ring with punches, you want to throw slightly looping punches, especially to the body, to meet your opponent head on. If he's moving to your left, right, throw a looping left to the body. Usually it makes more sense to go to the body, because if your opponent bends low, he could slip the punch and pivot out of there, right? But if you go to the body, you're closing the door, right? He can't get out. Nice body shot. Yeah, that's one thing that he's doing, but I don't know if that's an improvement necessarily, or just something that he's doing differently because he's fighting a tall opponent. But, Inoue is not in any danger here, but, his chin is up in the air and he's wide open, right? He's not in any danger because his feet are wide and he's leaning out of there, and his opponent he's going to be able to get out of there with his athleticism before he gets hit. But, this isn't great technique, guys. It's flashy, it's impressive, but it's not the best technique possible, right? There, and look, he's landing the jab, so kudos to him. He's piling up points, hurting the guy. And there he throws, but look at how wide open he is. Wide open. If his opponent knew a thing or two about control and knew how to do that, he would just step in, right, with the straight punch. Or just put his hand out there. Left hand's coming at you, just put the right hand out there, right? Fuck it. Throw a hook. You're square, so throw a right, left hook, something. Right? Knock him out. His chin is up in the air right in front of you. You can't be scared. Bash him, right? Openings are right there. But there, Inoue threw the right hand as his opponent was moving in that direction. So that's the right kind of punch to throw if you're cutting the ring off. But the reason why I don't think he's doing it deliberately, or that he understands what he's doing. Obviously, he's throwing the right hand deliberately, but that he doesn't understand how to cut the ring off with punches is because he pivots in the other direction and just opens the door for his opponent, right? He's like, hey, he gives him an exit, basically. right? He just let him out. So he's not cutting the ring off. Sometimes he throws the right punch, but right, he's just punching through the guy. He's not setting anything up. He's not cutting the ring off. It looks like the Narvaez fight. He's just punching through him. He's faster, more athletic, hits harder, right? Can't cut the ring off for shit. Doesn't know the first thing about cutting. There he did it. So, slight improvement. Let's be fair. There he did it. First time, finally. It's not very hard to hit him necessarily, is it? Right? You get him to the body. Right? He was wide open. His opponent just has no confidence and has no power on his punches. But it was weird. He started throwing and Inoue just dropped his guard. Right? And maybe it looked like he was trying to counter, but his opponent pivoted out of there. And, Inoue was wide open for punches. Right? Very high guard. Elbows not tucked, so the body's there. Did you see that? He's making the same mistakes as in the Narvaez fight. Right? He's wide open for the counter. He reacts to it, and his opponent's just not very sharp or accurate, but the opening's right there, right? He just commits. He doesn't probe for offense, right? He just commits to his jab, steps into the jab, which means he can't follow up with punches right away. He can't throw a combination. He just throws a hard jab, and that gets him out of position for a split second where he can't throw any more punches, and he's wide open for counters, right? Right? He's going straight back still and gets hit. That's bad. That's just bad. See what he did with his feet? Now, Inoue has good footwork for the most part. There's a lot of hopping around. Did you see how he hopped there? And they're little things, and maybe they don't mean anything, but it's a bad habit to have. You guys know, if you've been watching my videos, my film studies, you know that I'm very much against bouncing around, right? It's just a bad, bad thing to do. It's hilarious to me. I was listening to the gods of boxing talk, right? With 16 divisions in boxing and Omar Narvaez being the bigger guy against Naoya Inoue. They made this fucking hilarious fanboy video. My God. And praising Inoue for bouncing around, right? See that bounce? See how he was bouncing around? He's out of position, or he's out of position, and it's easy to time him, right? He just walks into a punch, or sorry, bounces into a punch. Bad fucking habit, people. And then he backs straight away. He rolls the right hand, but the punch's not very fast, and it's a little looping. But he backs straight up with his hands down, right? And gets hit. Boom. Right? Is he fixing these habits? Bad habits? You see, that's what I mean when you commit to a jab. And look, it's good to commit to a jab, but disguise it with something, throw a feint, probe a little bit, right? But if you're going to commit to your jab, to a hard jab, right, you're out of position. You have to shuffle your feet a little bit. And he's athletic enough to be able to throw the right hand, right? But there's that split second where right now he's out of position and he's wide open for counters, right? His opponent is deathly afraid. He's not taking advantage. He's not controlling. He's just a bum, and he's deathly afraid. But Inoue just got out of position for a split second without setting up his jab, meaning that, and his hands are down. He's changing levels, so that's good. But he's wide open. He's wide open for the left hand, for the right hand. If his opponent steps in right now and smothers him, he's going to show him something new maybe. And then looking at how Naoya reacts to an opponent smothering him, who knows how he reacts. He may try to back away with his hands down or pivot out with his hands down. And there might be a knockout shot happening. I don't know. Just imagining things. But it's difficult to know because he's fighting a bum who doesn't know these things or is too afraid to try them, even if he may know them, right? Did you see? Look at the big pause his opponent gave him. Or how Naoya Inoue took a pause and his opponent just didn't do anything with it, right? Wide open, doesn't do anything, and is allowed to counter, right? Oh, God. Did you see that? There could have been a knockout, maybe a knockdown. See that? These punches are just whizzing by his head, and he's not exactly moving away from these punches. His opponent he's just not accurate, and he's slow. Look how inaccurate his opponent is, right? There, he adjusted a little bit. Now, because these punches were whizzing by his head, so now he's like, oh shit, I better use my hands for defense, right? Damn, I mean, that was a huge mistake. That could have been a knockout. But he realized that, and now he's using his hands well, right? He still gets hit though, but his opponent's not very accurate. This is why you have these developmental fights, because this guy's really no danger, no threat. But he's able to hit him, right? Inoue was backing straight out. Only after he got hit did he change direction, right? He's going straight back. He changed direction a little bit, but not enough, right? He got hit or pivoted at an angle. Not cutting the ring off at all. There he's cutting the ring off. There he goes. There he goes. A little better. But still learning, right? Still learning how to cut the ring off. He's just throwing these big punches without setting them up really, he's just looking to punch through them, right? That's what he does. Right? He has no control of his opponent. He almost got headbutted there because he doesn't control his opponent. You guys remember how Andre Ward was darting in with his head like that against Kovalev? How Kovalev was controlling him, shutting him down, owning him, right? That's a pound-for-pound fighter. He did the right thing, grabbing him, but he should have met him with a jab. Ooh. Chin up in the air, hands down a lot of the times. Wild swinging stuff, right? Boop. Gets hit twice, but is bigger, stronger, can counter. Maybe not bigger. I think he is naturally. See, his opponent is now, he's panicking a little bit and he's trying to use his head. Oop, see, Inoue doesn't control him. He gets headbutted. It's things you learn, right? Again, I'm just being very harsh and critical because, you guys are telling me, some of you are telling me he's a pound-for-pound fighter. So he lunges in, right? His hands are down and his chin is up in the air. But he could get away with that against a bum. Could he get away with that against Lomachenko? Fuck no. Wild swinging punches with no setup. The counters are there. Not cutting the ring off. See that wasted movement? That little bounce that he did could have been used to go to his right. All that energy, right, could have been used to go to the right, cut the ring off. There he's setting up the right hand a little bit, going down and up. He's setting it up, but he didn't set the jab up, but that's okay, right? You're not always going to be able to do that. The guy wants to headbutt. But he's not cutting the ring off now, is he? He's got that annoying bounce, man. When the punches fly at him and they're accurate and on target, he just shells up. Erislandy Lara style, right? Ooh, shit. Right? See the bounce? Bad idea. You got to stop all that bouncing, man. He still fights like an amateur fighter in some respects. See the bounce? See how his opponent is timing the bounce? But he's slow. His punches are wide, looping, and telegraphed. If you got a Lomachenko in front of you who just goes straight out with his punches and he's fast, he's hitting you right there, right? Of course. Still bouncing. But his opponent is bouncing too. Either he's just not very accurate, period, or he's so scared that he's afraid to commit to his punches. But they're right there, right? The counters are right there. Able to land to the body. Inoue is not very difficult to hit. The problem is that he intimidates a lot of people with his speed and his punching power. But it's not difficult to hit him if you know how to avoid getting hit yourself, right? If you got good defense and you're fast and you could catch him coming in, right? Nice quick counter, but doesn't land. Right, he's not really setting up these punches very well. He's varying his combinations now a little bit. Yeah, that guy's just headbutting. Oh, he can't take it to the body, right? Told you. Inoue sets it up with a little feint. He dips a little bit. Something that he's been doing this whole fight, right? He dips and then boop, boom. Little feint there. Good setup. But, he has a scared opponent who's biting on all the feints. He has to respect the feints because Inoue punches so hard. But, look, Inoue's wide open, right? Wide open. And look, I know when you throw your left hand, for example, you're going to leave yourself exposed on the left side, right? But he was open from both sides. He's wide open, right? The chin's not tucked. Anytime he lands cleanly, his opponent just can't take it, right? He just can't take it. He's winning this fight with boxing skill, obviously, but what makes the difference? What makes the real difference, right? Punching power. What's going to happen when he gets in the ring with someone who can take his punch? That's going to happen when you're no longer weight bullying dudes or fighting these skinny, fragile guys, right? The 6-round fighters. Can't cut the ring off for shit, right? Just following him around. Now he's just has no respect for the opponent, right? Because this guy's not giving him anything. But see, this dude's not really controlling, but he's seeing the openings and countering. Except he's not very sharp. His punches aren't short enough, but they're right there, right? It's not hard to hit the guy. And his opponent's slow here. He's not turning his punches over, but he got him timed, right? That could have been a knockout. Nonito Donaire? I mean, come on, guys. Nonito Donaire with his left hook in his prime. I mean, we're talking pound for pound here, right? Which is what Nonito was in his prime. He would have put this guy to sleep. Nonito would have. Again, right? He was making that same mistake against Narvaez, but he could get away with it because, you know, relatively speaking, Narvaez was a bum compared to, you know, just because of how small he was and old and blah, blah, blah. Right? He's wide open. You could counter him. He doesn't really set his punches up very well. He just punches through most of his opponents. He just punches right through them. Obviously, he has boxing skill, don't get me wrong, but does he have more boxing skill than his opponent? He's sharper. His tools are better. But technically, his opponent's slightly better, actually. This 6-round bum is technically, he's a little better. Not punch technique, but boxing technique. He's better than Inoue, marginally. Now he's just running, and Inoue is not cutting the ring off at all, is he? So it's become plenty obvious that Inoue just wants to knock him out with the one shot. He's not really there to get any work in. He's not really working on anything. You know, he's not trying to carry the guy so he could practice this or that. He just wants to punch right through him, knock him out, and go home, celebrate New Year, right? It's a showcase fight. But if that's what he wants to do, he's not cutting the ring off. And the guy is running, so it's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong. But there are things that you can do, like throw the right punches at the right time. Not throw the left hand when your opponent is moving into your right? Throw the right hand and loop it right there. Right there, throw the left. You can't do it because the opponent's not there. But right there, throw the right hand. Not the left, throw the right. Right? Right hand, not the left, right hand. Right hand, come on, buddy, right hand. Right hand, buddy, come on. Cut the ring off, goddammit. There he cut the ring off with punches with the left hand. But that's just what he was throwing, right? He didn't do it like he threw the left hand deliberately, obviously, because that's what he's just been doing, and every punch is deliberate. But he's not cutting the ring off deliberately, right? Because that's just the hand he was throwing, and he kept throwing it. He didn't start throwing the left hand because his opponent started moving to the left, because that's the punch he was throwing, even though his opponent was moving to his left. And not, you know, when Boyeaux starts moving to the right, Inoue is throwing the left to cut him off, essentially. Or he does cut him off with the left, but he's not doing that on purpose, right? Because he was just throwing that punch no matter which way his opponent was moving, right? See how he gets out of position with these hard jabs? Not probing or anything. He just wants not setting up these punches. Right? Out of position, which allows his opponent to get out of there. And it'll happen, but throw the right hand, right? Throw the right hand, buddy. Anyway, looks like we're almost done here. Wide open. Inoue is wide open, right? His opponent just doesn't want anymore, and the referee stops it. Now, I don't know if this was a developmental fight. It just doesn't seem like it was, because if it were, or I don't know that they're developing him properly. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're doing with Inoue, to be honest with you, besides making a lot of money. But if this were a developmental fight and he was in there understanding that, we would have seen stark improvement from the Narvaez fight. But it's not really there. And Narvaez was what, 3 years ago? It's not really there at all. So that's troubling. If you're an Inoue fan, that's troubling because go watch if you haven't seen my film study of Lomachenko as an amateur, as a professional, evolution of a fighter, right? What kind of improvements Lomachenko was making at this age. Drastic improvements, and still is in the professionals, right? Lomachenko's making great improvements. It's like night and day. Inoue is not. He's just getting bigger and going up in weight, fighting bigger and bigger guys. But it seems like now that he's fighting bigger guys, he's been fighting bummier guys. So the result is the same, basically, even though they're bigger, they're not as good as the little guys he fought. So I'm not seeing the right kind of progression or development here. And, whatever he has going on right now, and he's going to be bigger and stronger at bantamweight, that might be enough to beat very good bantamweights. It might, actually. But man, there's some troubling signs here. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm not seeing improvement, and his power is basically telling the day. And the fact that he's stronger and he can take a slap from a bum, right? But once you level out the physical playing field at 118, a lot more anyway, he might not have enough. He may, but I wouldn't feel very confident, right? Looks like he's about to step to his natural weight division, I would say, at least at this point. And if he's pound for pound, or we are to think that he might be one day, he's going to step into his natural weight division and he has to dominate everybody. Not just cherry pick, but make us believe and prove, even if he doesn't get to fight everybody because they're ducking him, let's say, he's going to step up to bantamweight and he's going to perform in a way which will convince us that he's better than everybody in that division, right? We'll see what happens. This was a very good performance, right? Don't get me wrong, but well, no, it wasn't a very good performance, actually. He just fought a bum, guys. Even if he's not a pound-for-pound fighter, but he's in that conversation, our expectations have to be much greater than this. We need to see improvement. We need to see him cutting off the ring, not backing up in a straight line, not opening himself wide open for counters, not bouncing around so much. And there were some other things that I forget right now, but I mentioned in this short little film study. So, it is what it is, man. A lot of y'all are just fanboys talking shit. I'm not seeing that any proof that most of you fanboys out there are actually watching these fights and critiquing these fighters correctly. You're putting him up to a Lomachenko standard, but, well, you want him to get the acclaim that Lomachenko gets, but you're not judging him by the same standard that Lomachenko is judged at. In that ring, Lomachenko can't get away with these mistakes against Nick Walters's or, Rigondeaux's or Gary Russell Jr.'s. Not even Mariaga. He can't get away with these mistakes against these guys. He just can't. Right? So, yeah, I don't know shit about boxing. All right? I'm out.